Hi folks, I'm back with another video today. I have a few things to share with you. I wanted to cover these tanks because people have asked about Rodinal sand development. I've been doing some of that. And they asked me what you might want to look for in your equipment. Well, the first thing you need to look for is a big enough tank. Now, either one of these tanks will develop a roll of 35 millimeter film or a roll of 120. This will do multiple rolls, do 2 at a time. But what we're most concerned about is the capacity of this tank. When I do Rodinal stand development, I use 600 milliliters of water and 6 milliliters of Rodinal. So I need a big enough tank to hold that. Now, I can easily put 600 milliliters of solution in this big tank. It'll hold it no problem. This small tank, it won't hold that. Now, if I was using a stronger, more concentrated solution, I would not have 600 milliliters of water. I might have 300 or 250 or whatever, whatever that particular recipe would call for. But it would be a smaller amount than I would use for stand developing. And this little tank would work fine for that. Back 40 years ago, I used this with D76 and, standard type of developing. And it's plenty big enough and works very well with that. This bigger tank though, when you do stand development, you're dealing with such a weak solution and you have to have at least 6 milliliters of Rodinal. You mix it 1 to 100, but if your tank only holds 300, you can't put 3 milliliters of Rodinal in 300 milliliters of water because there's a 6 milliliter minimum on Rodinal to have enough to develop a roll of film. This requires you to have a tank that'll hold a little over 600 milliliters of solution plus the film itself. Now, the other thing to look out for with these tanks, and sometimes I'm not sure they come with instructions that cover this. You see how these reels set on this spindle in here? Now, this spindle goes, this big end that you see there, goes big end down, comes up through the film this way. And I always like to put both reels in the tank, even if I'm developing one roll of film. And I put the film on this bottom roll, the empty one's on top. That keeps it down in the solution, so when I agitate the tank, I don't have this come up and perhaps just get hung up here, see, and be up out of the solution when my tank's setting down. I like to have them both in there. Now, it goes this way, big end down, small end up, and then when you put your lid on it, this end here goes into that spool, and that gives you your light seal. That keeps the light from getting in there. And when I agitate it, this top snaps on, just like this, and you can pour the liquid in. Once that film's inside of here, you can handle this in daylight. That's no problem. And then when I put my developer in, I put this lid on, and it will leak a little bit when you do your rotations, at the beginning and again at the 30-minute and at the 60 and at the 90-minute mark. 90 minutes if you're pushing to 1600. If you're going for box speed, you'll stop at 1 hour. So that's how that works. These little tanks like this, you generally don't rotate them over because it'll spill everywhere. It's got a hole in it, it's going to come out. And to do agitations, you put a little stem in there and just gently turn it. And that moves it through the developer so that you get fresh developer on your film. That way works just fine, but you must remember, of course, not to try to rotate it. And just in case you're tempted, don't stick your finger over the hole and think you'll rotate it because it'll leak around this top seal. It's not going to seal that way either. So if you think, well, I just put my finger over that won't work. It won't work very well. Now, the only other thing I wanted to cover today is something I recently discovered. While waiting for Ektachrome to come out, which I'm very excited about. Just yesterday they announced it's going to start shipping, but before that, when there was very little slide film to be got, I like to shoot the Fuji. And I would get this at B&H off the internet, and they'd send you a roll of Fujichrome, a Velvia, Provia, whatever you like, and you could order a mailer with it. And The mailer was about, I don't know, $10 and something. And so you got your Fujichrome in, and you put it in your camera and shot it. You took it back out of the camera, put it in that mailer from B&H, and it cost you $3.50 to mail it, and it went to Dwayne's out in Parsons, Kansas. Now, a week later, they'd ship that back to you, and that mailer covers that $10 and something for the mailer. That covers developing your slides and them being shipped back to you. So your cost to develop will be the $3.50 to mail it to them, plus the cost of that mailer. B&H still sells those mailers. So if you're looking for a good deal on development, that sounds like, I mean, it seems to me pretty cheap. If you're looking for a good deal on development, that's hard to beat on your slides. The other cool thing is they come back in a week when Dwayne ships them to you. From the time I took them to the post office on a Monday, they came back to my house here in Kentucky on the next Monday. That was 1 week, including mailing time. And they come back in an envelope that looks like this from Dwayne's, and then you get your slides are in a box like this, and they're very well developed. And the little slide box has a place to write some notes on it here, as you can see. Oops, and I'm just going to pull that open. You can see they're expertly packaged up with the little binders around them. Boy, there's something really nice about slides. So if you're getting into film, or perhaps just wanting to shoot some slides and you're wondering where to still get it done, I don't know anything that beats that deal on buying that mailer from B&H. I think it's $10 and something, but that includes return shipping to you. You still pay about $3.50 to ship it out there. So you'll end up with about $14 in getting your 36 exposure slides developed, which I think is reasonable. And you can check that out on B&H to be sure. I'm not affiliated with them. They don't know me. I don't work for them. I'm just bringing it up as a courtesy. People might help somebody else save some money. And on these tanks here, keep in mind when you're shopping for them, I don't think the little one and the big one are much different in price. So if it were me, I would always get the bigger one. Not only does it allow you to have the volume to do your Rodinal stand development, but it allows you to do 2 rolls of film at once if you get to shooting multiple rolls, and maybe you need a little more output. You know, you shoot a couple of rolls, you like to do them both at the same time. Well, if you got a tank that'll do 2, that's a good thing. These tanks are about $30 from most online places that I've found. And that varies a little, as always, but I'll call it $30. These are probably, I don't know, 15 to 20 something. I don't think I can find one just like this. This is an old style that I don't even think they make this anymore. I believe this was like an AGFA or something made in, no, a GAF tank. Yeah, it was made, I know it was probably back in the 60s, and it may have been made as far back as the 50s. It's pretty old. But the interesting thing about it is, it still works, you know. I mean, in a pinch, yeah, you could use that, but it's couldn't use it for stand development because it doesn't have enough volume to hold it. Well, I hope this video's been interesting and pleasant. Well, I guess that's about it. I've rambled enough for today, and as always, thanks for watching. If you like my videos, click that thumbs up or hit subscribe if you want to. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.